Hey there, this is Mr. Icarus, and welcome to yet another edition of Doom Mod Madness. You know what? They just keep coming. They just keep coming. The internet is utterly awash in interesting and cool Doom mods. You just need to know where to look for them. And if I'm going to be perfectly honest, I am probably stretching the definition of Doom mod a little thin this time round. And that's largely because Nocturne In Yellow isn't really a Doom mod. It's its own thing. It is a complete standalone game using a heavily modified version of the ID Tech 1 engine, also known as the Doom engine, if I'm going to be slightly less pretentious. But I thought I'd give this a spin on Doom Mod Madness because the author behind it, Terminus Ested13, or Terminus for short, is also responsible for some really ridiculously entertaining Doom mods. You may remember Demon Steel, you may remember Metroid Dreadnought, both of which I have covered in the past here on Doom Mod Madness, and now I believe it's time for Nocturne In Yellow. So what in the hell is Nocturne In Yellow anyway? Well, that's actually a little bit of a tricky question to answer because it's this weird hybrid of something like Hexen crossed with Castlevania and then sprinkled on top with a few bullet hell elements as well. If you have no idea what bullet hell is, it's basically dodge like crazy. Dodge if you want to survive, and you'll be dealing with a lot of incoming projectiles. That is the essence of bullet hell at its core, and it's not all that immediately apparent going by the gameplay that we've currently got here. There's a lot of zombie killing. There's a lot of spearing zombies in the face with a big old spear, but trust me, this game escalates, and it doesn't really take all that long for it to happen either. I'm pretty sure it's the end of this first stage where the game goes, right, we're going to chuck you in the shit now. But before we reach that, I should probably explain a few key elements here. First of all, we've only got access to 2 weapons, and that's pretty much how it's going to be for the vast majority of the game. You do gain access to a 3rd weapon a bit further on, which is this cursed bolt-action rifle. But that is very much a weapon of last resort, because the way Nocturne In Yellow structures its arsenal, let's say, is via artifacts, and you gain these by beating end-of-stage bosses, and that's really where these bullet hell elements really make themselves known. But what we're going to do here, we're just going to clear out a few more of this zombie-based trash, so we can have a crack at the old boss for this particular stage. And the first stage boss is actually really pretty goddamn tough. It was a little bit of a shock to the system for me, which is why I was grateful for this big old purple statue over here. This is actually a checkpoint, because in Nocturne In Yellow you can't actually do a quick save. You've got to rely on these checkpoints. So it can get a little hairy, is all I'm saying, especially in later stages, because they can get tough, and you're just praying that there's a checkpoint around the corner, but they only seem to turn up right before a boss battle. But here we go. This is Morena, and she exists for one pretty specific purpose, and that is to kick our ass. She is ridiculously powerful. In fact, this boss battle that we're going to be fighting here is pretty much exactly the same as the boss battle you'll have against her much later on in the game. I think it's like stage 6 or something like that. But she uses all the same moves here as she does there. It's just that at this point in the game we have absolutely no artifacts, we have no significant power-ups. So the only thing we can really do here is last as long as we physically can against Morena. Which isn't going to be very long, unless I'm particularly skillful today. But as you can see, her attacks are pretty intense. She can leap across the entire arena while flinging daggers all over the place, and this is where the bullet hell element clearly comes in. You gotta make sure you dodge between those projectiles, that you side-strafe the hell out of the way of everything coming at you. But I just think it's a really cool introduction. It's a really good way of keying you in on what's in store for you later on. Wow. I'm still alive. This is unusual for me. Usually I've kicked the bucket long before now against Morena. In fact, that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to actually win this battle, as far as I can tell. Or I could be completely wrong. Maybe you can actually win against Morena. Maybe it's something that I just haven't achieved yet, because I'm totally rubbish at everything I play. In fact, I haven't even used any grenades yet. You can see them in the top right-hand corner there, those little grey balls. They're basically high-damage items for tricky situations, but, oh, there we go. We are finally dead. Well, as close to dead as we can possibly be. because now we've triggered another little conversation. I really do like the art style here as well. There's another thing that leads me to believe there's a slightly strong Castlevania influence here. I was kind of hoping that the Castlevania influence would extend a little bit further, maybe into the game design itself, but then again, that would have been an absolutely massive pain in the ass to create, because Castlevania is centered around a huge explorable castle environment, and I can just imagine you would go mad trying to recreate that in Doom. Maybe at some point in the future some absolute insane person will attempt that. In any case though, we've finally got our hands on a crucifix, which means our arrows are now a little bit more powerful, means we can pack a little bit more of a punch, and we can now officially exit this stage. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and hopefully give you a bit of a clearer idea of what this game is like in its later stages. And let me tell you, there's some stuff in this game. Some of the enemy design, one enemy in particular, just absolutely rustles my jimmies, but we'll come to that soon enough. So here we are in stage 4? Yeah, stage 4, judging by the amount of artifacts we have at our disposal here. But this is white coal, which is pretty awesome, because you can fire through multiple enemies. I just love that. I just love that this level sets up an entire corridor full of zombies for you to just waste with a single arrow. And it's that little attention to detail that really makes me enjoy this. You can also discover secrets around most levels, pick up satchel packs, which allow you to carry extra grenades, which I've been liberally using, as you can see with the absent little grey balls in the top right under that mana bar. And the mana bar itself is linked to artifacts. It doesn't really do much with the crucifix. That's kind of like just a damage bonus, a base damage bonus to make you competitive against these enemies. But any other artifacts like white coal or the dragon scale, which turns your arrows into a scattershot shotgun type weapon, will consume mana. And you can refill that by picking up purple floating mana runes, also known as strange mana, which is pretty cool. Anyway, we're going to have to get our hands on a red key if we want to get any further. I'm just going to swap over to the old dragon scale here so we can scattershot some of these sons of bitches in the face. Seriously, these guys, absolute pain to fight up close and personal, especially if you've got the spear. Would not recommend it. What have we got in here? A room full of purple. You know, for a game called Nocturne In Yellow, there's an awful lot of, like, every other color besides yellow. Oh, wait, that's pretty cool. Let's do that again. I have not run into that before. The spear totally pings off surfaces. That is a really neat little touch. Anyway, that was a slight tangent. We've now got our red key, and we're going to march inexorably towards the one thing in this game that scares the ever-loving crap out of me. There is one particular enemy. I've been building this up. It's probably going to be laughable to everyone else when you finally see it, but first time round, I had to walk away. I had to walk away from the game because it was just a little too much. A little too much. Okay, we're nearly there. We're nearly at the section with the friggin' unholy abomination that scares the shit out of me. Got all my artifacts in order. We're gonna go down. We're gonna go down the steps. We're gonna enter the den of the unholy one. This, I'm sure this is some kind of a library. But I'm just filled with slight dread every time I come in here. This isn't even the first time you encounter this horrible thing. And, that should let you know how creepy it generally is. No, it's not the floating head, although that is really super creepy, and pretty damage dealing as well. Now, the hellish awful thing is actually sat on a throne at the back there. I don't know if you can see it. Its head kind of resembles a black light bulb, but that light bulb also seems to be filled with eyes. So, we're gonna go spook it. We're gonna go trigger the abomination. This is gonna go well. Ah, God, I hate everything about it. I hate the way it moves. I hate the way it sounds. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's such an unholy, horrible sound. Oh, my jimmies. My jimmies are being rustled left, right, and center here. Hopefully we can take care of this horrible... There we go. But yeah, oh God, everything about it just... makes me shudder to my very core. It's just the scream it makes when it catches up with you. It like throws you away with a shockwave. It's terrifying. So yeah, Terminus. Good job on that one. Nocturne in Yellow actually does a really good job of using a smattering of horror elements to just get under your skin in a slightly unexpected fashion, because this is such a clear and bright and coherent game. that you just don't really see it coming when something genuinely unnerving comes along, like that weird, noodly, light bulb-headed abomination I fought in the library. Other games will be content to drown the entire thing out in gloom and darkness and have an orchestra go absolutely spastic every time you see an enemy, but here, it'll just say, this is a thing. If it haunts your nightmares, that's your own damn fault, and believe me, that thing will haunt my nightmares. There's even another encounter in this game against a boss after this one, I think. There's absolutely no bullet hell elements involved in that particular boss battle. All you've got to guide you is the sound of an occasional heartbeat and the occasional flickering of the image of your enemy as it gets closer and closer to you. And this thing can almost one-shot kill you. Maybe you'll laugh it off. Maybe you'll come to the conclusion that I'm just a complete and utter pansy for ever getting freaked out at such a thing, but hey, that's Nocturne In Yellow for you, a really great standalone game built using the Doom engine. If we're going to class it as an indie game, I think it stands head and shoulders above a lot of the other chaff that's usually released in this day and age. I find indie games in general are a little bit toothless, are a little bit lacking on the challenge side. It's very few and far between that you actually run into something that will make you sweat in order to achieve victory, if you know what I mean. But yes, the link, as usual, is in the description below. Feel free to leave a like if you've enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave a comment as well if you want to suggest any future mods for me to check out, or if you just want to spitball about this one in particular. And if you're not already subscribed, well, subscribe, goddammit. Otherwise I'll send that noodly abomination after you in your sleep. Just kidding. Or am I? This has been Mr. Icarus. Thank you very much for watching. Icarus out.